So close and yet so far. It was almost going to be a perfect 2020 for Team India as far as the 2020 format was concerned. It was all set up beautifully. They had the perfect record in chases. And of course, they had to make that record in 2020. It was not to be. As it turned out, the ODI and T20 series, the white ball part of the summer, ending 3-all between India and Australia. Australia winning the ODI series 2-1. India winning the T20I series 2-1. Very similar. Series was wrapped up. Consolation win, which gave the momentum to Team India. And here's a consolation win. Could it also be a hint of momentum as they go forward into pink/red ball cricket in a few days' time? It was a spirited chase, and it was going to be all up to Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya. But some sterling bowling towards the end, some good bowling changes by Aaron Finch, ending up at 174 for 7 in the 20 overs. Once Pandya and Kohli departed, it was all going to be maybe some miracle from Shardul Thakur. And well, he came close to doing it as well with a couple of blows at the end. Here we are, My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, just wrapping things up, wrapping the entire year up with Michael Vaughan and Zaheer Khan. Zaheer, yes, disappointment for Team India, but well, it went down to a first victory ever in a T20 international for Australia over India in Sydney.
Well, finally, you look at the game and say that, okay, fielding has been the differentiator, and that is something which has been happening for a while. But, this kind of loss just puts everything in focus in a very distinct and clear way. I think that's what happened with the Indian team today. You've kind of set that chase up really well. Virat batted brilliantly. You had the support. Maybe those middle order couple of wickets which Swepson got in that middle phase put more pressure on Hardik to walk in at that stage. But I think if you look at the game closely, just the fielding was a big differentiating factor. Something which Indian team needs to look into. Something which Indian team really needs to get serious about. Because small margins, these things go a long way.
2 boundaries between 7 and 15. But just one aspect I'd like to point out, Michael Vaughan. Yes, Smith dropped a sitter, but they made up for it with some really good catching towards the end, including Daniel Sams. But the 15th over, when you've got Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya batting, looking to go big, concedes just 2, AJ tie. How match-changing was that?
Yeah, huge. I mean, you can look at many kind of overs, balls, scenarios of the 40 overs that we saw, and India were just off it today. They weren't quite at the best. Virat was near his best with the batting hand. He needed just one more cameo around him. But I totally agree with what Zach said. I was going to make the same point that I think this can be good for India to finally accept that they do have a fielding problem. For them to go on and win a World Cup and to put a prolonged run of wins together when it really counts in a World Cup on home shore next year, they can't keep fielding like the way that they are doing because, they've got to be honest, they're up against an Australian side that has been missing some key players. Yes, India are missing a couple of key players in Rohit Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah, but I wouldn't put those two in the category of outstanding fielders. It's the majority of the team that you're seeing here today will be around for that World Cup, so they've just got to get better. They've got to get better in the catches more consistently. They've got to manoeuvre in the field more so. I know they play a lot of cricket, and the intensity levels are, hard to keep up all the time. But for India to go on and win the T20 World Cup, this should be the day where they go, okay, finally we have to accept that we have to do something about our fielding because the bowling aspect of the variations are fine. The batting combinations are fine. You get Rohit Sharma back in there. Of course, he's going to add a wow factor to the team. But the fielding will have to improve. They'll be very lucky to win a World Cup fielding to the standard that we've seen in this series.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point. Zaheer made it earlier about sweeping it under the carpet. And I think the fact that India have come out second best in this third game, yes, a dead rubber, means that at least there will be some focus on that. They look and say, okay, what cost us this game? And that's certainly what it was because the batsmen made their best effort and they came out second best. So I think you will want to reiterate that point at the end of the white ball summer.
Yes, and because it's been happening for a while now, you can just move past things if it's just the one-off incidents you can always say that okay, these things happen in the game. But when it's happening consistently, there is that is the alarming sign. That also shows that there is not enough seriousness have been given to the matter, and that is something which will surely come on the foreground after a match like this, because important games, this can cost you, and you don't want that to happen in a big tournament. You've seen it with the ODI World Cup in 19. That number 4 position everyone has been talking about, that has been the discussion pretty much through and through the year, or maybe a couple of years leading up to the World Cup. But it was just kind of swept under the rug, thinking that okay, top 3 always going to fire. But when it comes to that particular day, when it doesn't happen, what are your answers? And I think fielding is something which is in your control, which is the third dimension of the game. At the moment, Indian team is just looking at batting and bowling as discipline. They're not giving enough importance to fielding as a third discipline, which can change the result of the game.
Yes, but looking at the other side, of course, a couple of smart catches from Daniel Sams, one on the second attempt, another superb one, and they were both big wickets in the context of the game. But you might sweep the fielding or attempt to sweep that under the rug, but you certainly wouldn't sweep the leg spinner under anything, Michael Vaughan. Pardon the pun. But once again, Zampa and Swepson were outstanding. We thought maybe Zampa would even bowl the 20th over, but he was used well, used at the right times. And look at those returns. 4 for 44 in 7 overs.
Yeah, magnificent. I'm amazed that Zampa only bowled 3. Swepson looks like he's getting better and better. I've said it a few times on this show that he's having a really good state season, getting plenty of red ball wickets. Now bigger and bigger because of the times that when the backup for Nathan Lyon, he's the kind of one cog in the Australian Test match wheel that I don't think can be replaced. I think they've got plenty of seamers. If 1 or 2 of them went down, I think they've got plenty of batters. They certainly don't have much in terms of the spin department. So Swepson could be the one that they look to. Leg spin's so important for T20 cricket, and both Zampa and Swepson. I mean, Zampa now looks like he just knows his game. He's very confident, very controlled, can bowl in all the different situations. So Australia, and particularly Aaron Finch back into the side tonight, he'll be delighted that they finished the series with a win. And he'll also look at the other 2 games. I think we weren't that far away. All these 3 games. I think tonight was probably the most convincing win in terms of an Australian victory over the Indians. But the other 2 games, I think the Aussies will look at it and go, we weren't that far away from winning either of those games. So I think at the end of the series, I know it's been like a 3-all scenario in the white ball arena or the 50s and the T20s, but I think Australia are getting close to something. They seem to be getting a group of players that is growing, more depth in the squad. From an Indian perspective, you look at particularly those 2 younger batsmen in Sanju Samson and Suresh Iyer, I just don't think they've taken their opportunity. They had a great opportunity on this tour in the white ball game to really establish themselves in the team. They haven't done that.
Yes, but just to round off the whole leg spinner discussion, and let's confirm to you that Mitchell Swepson has been declared player of the match. And once again, it's good. Yeah, a bowler. Yes, a bowler lords it over the batsman with some sterling batting performances, including Matthew Wade with 80. But in all fairness, it was really taken away from Team India because they were doing so well. But both the leg spinners in tandem, not just this game, but in other games. I'm going to throw it at both of you. Zaheer first. Is there something for India to look at? Yes, fielding is one aspect about the way they've tackled leg spin.
Well, not really. I think if you look at it overall, the Indian batters are supposed to be better players of spin. They understand how to maneuver the ball. Focus on those rotation of the strike, collect in singles and doubles, which we saw today as well. I think it's more so from Australia's think tank point of view that today Maxwell also they used it wisely. Started with the new ball, got them that crucial breakthrough, which worked in their favor. When KL usually likes the pace onto the bat, so that's something which they tried changing it. I think the whole approach has been with the thought of World Cup being played in India next year. And that's why you're seeing having someone like Zampa who's been doing so well still going ahead with Swepson and having two leggies along with Maxwell. That's the kind of stack up they're looking at, and we'll have to wait and see how things evolve for Australian team. But certainly I completely agree with Michael when it comes to the World Cup next year. Australian team is looking good with some key members coming back into the side. They can be a force to reckon with. Things will fall into place. The areas which they need to work on going forward. They're addressing that beautifully from that point of view. This game will give them that confidence.
Any cause for worry for you, Michael, from the leg spin point of view from India? I mean, there was a time we couldn't have imagined an opposition playing two genuine leg spinners, kind of similar. I remember Stuart McGill once saying that he wishes he could have played a little bit more in tandem with Shane Warne.
Yeah, I mean, I think T20 cricket, I don't think it's India that will only struggle against two quality leg spinners. They've got, great variations, good control. They're both full of confidence. So I think this pairing will probably have the wool over a few teams' eyes. It's not just going to be the Indians in Indian conditions. I always feel that the Indian players play spin as well as any, so I don't think it'll be a massive worry for them throughout that next year leading into the World Cup. It'll be certainly an area where teams look at trying to get two in. I mean, I've said for a long, long time in T20 cricket, you talk about mystery spinners, you talk about spinners that can take it either way. There aren't as many off spinners that bowl the doosra these days as there was back in the day. Like 15, 20 years ago, every single off spinner around the world, particularly Asian off spinners, all had the doosra. There's not many have that now because they've been a little bit more strict on the actions. So most teams have plenty of leg spinners and plenty of leg spinners in their domestic competitions to potentially have a look at. I certainly would be left arm seamers, leg spinner be the two areas that I really try and focus on as an international kind of management group to try and find. Natarajan's been magnificent for India, left arm over, great variations, great skill. Do India have another leg spinner that they could potentially bring into the group just to have a look at? I think that would be something that I would personally have a look at, because the more that you can get, I think it's the harder for the opposing batters to face.
Just trying to eavesdrop on Virat Kohli. We know Australia had their middle phase issues throughout this series, but India too. And Virat admitted it that that's probably what cost them the game. We saw the figures, just two boundaries between 7 and 15. There you can confirm it once again. The 1-4 between 7 and 10 and the 1-6 between 11 and 15. And that's the phase where they could just, with the number of runs to get, they needed maybe 15 or 20 more in that phase to make it a little easier for the back five with Hardik Pandya and Virat Kohli in there. So again, something for them to address going forward, even though we're having a quick change in format, Zaheer.
Those two wickets didn't really help, isn't it? Samson and Shreyas Iyer getting out was not really going to make things easy for sure from that point of view. So the more work is required then of the batter who is in, and which was Virat Kohli in this case, was more expected of him at that stage, and it certainly puts pressure, and that's why those middle phase is so important. They were focusing on single and double, but they needed those big shots, and both Samson and Shreyas Iyer are known to be good hitters of spin, to have that impact in that phase. So losing those wickets certainly didn't help the cause and creating that momentum in those middle overs.
Yeah, I mean, Shreyas Iyer got a first bowler. It's not much you could say. Didn't really get a start, but Samson had the start. He had the platform, and once again, we are saying, okay, this could be the day. He's got his captain at the other end. Could he finish it? Gets a full toss, and he almost toe ends the full toss to long on.
Yes, it's Sanju Samson for you. He looks $1 million, but doesn't get any runs. You want him to look more like a kind of someone that hasn't got so much money but get lots of runs. He can only have so many chances. He keeps getting that opportunity and he's wasting it. There will be Rohit Sharma to come back in. There's many other young players that are knocking on the door, the Shubman Gills of this world. I think he's wasting really valuable opportunities of playing in the team.
Quick word on Hardik Pandya, been named player of the series, and I think, Zaheer, full credit to a man who is an all-rounder but is picking up this award purely for one aspect of his game.
Absolutely. I think he will be very happy with how things have gone in this series. He has carried on that form from IPL to international cricket, and really proved that not only just as an all-rounder, just purely as a batter, also he can have that impact. He has a special ability for sure. You look at his hand speed. There are not many who have that ability of hitting those sixes with such a wiry frame he has. And I've always been saying that once his bowling comes along, which I know there is going to be some work which is required, possibly a remodeling of the action, and make that bowling action more efficient, so that it doesn't keep him out of the game, and that is something which he must work on if he's not going to be part of the test matches. That is certainly going to give him that time to be ready going forward. But with the bat, he's got special ability. With his consistent performances, he's going to put bowlers under more and more pressure, and grow in confidence.
Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the first-class structure, but before that, just to sum up the series, we said it's finished 3-3 in the white ball format. For India, the third ODI was invaluable because they took that momentum into a kind of similar format from 50 over to T20. Now we're moving into the test match arena, first pink ball, then red ball. Not quite the momentum you can carry forward for Australia, having won this last one. So how would you assess, Michael, the 3-3, which camp's the happier as we stand right now?
I don't think, I'm not a massive believer in momentum in between games. I think once you start a new game, a new format, it's just how you start that game of cricket, and then you can kind of grab the momentum during the game. I've said for a long, the T20 victory has surprised me from an Indian perspective. I thought the Australians would beat India across all the formats. I think the fact Cummins and Stark were rested maybe helped a little bit. Warner's injury has been a big play in that factor as well. But the Test series is going to be the ultimate challenge. The longer format, you have a bad 5 overs in T20 cricket, you lose. You have a bad 15 overs in 50 over cricket, you lose. You have a bad day in Test cricket, you can still come back if you're a good team. And I just think across 5 days of cricket, the stronger, better team generally comes out on top. And, Virat Kohli, that first test in Adelaide, the Aussies are so powerful with that pink ball in Adelaide. They've never got close to losing in a pink ball game. And with Virat only playing in that first test, you just feel that India have to win that game. And then you go to Melbourne and then on to Sydney, and they finish Australia at their powerhouse, Brisbane. And it's going to be a real tough challenge for the Indian team to play 3 games without Virat Kohli. Do I think they can get 20 wickets? Yes, because I think the Indian bowling lineup is outstanding. It's going to be runs. It's going to be, can they get big runs without Virat Kohli to put this Australian team under pressure? And that's going to be the real challenge for the Indian team.
Yeah, that's a point well made looking ahead at the test. But Zaheer, you certainly feel, especially the way things started for Australia, that India would be the happier at the end of 3-3?
Absolutely. I think, we all know that the tour can feel really long, if you're just morally down. And that's what would have happened if they would have lost both the series. So this is definitely a positive for Indian team to look at the remainder of the series in that fashion, because mind you, this is COVID time, and the whole squad is in a way practicing together. The whole group is together. So even though it's a different format that has given you that moral victory, but it still can affect the whole group. And that's the way we can look at this. So the Test series is going to be a difficult one. There is no doubt about it. The Adelaide pink ball Test match with the pink ball, you've seen that extra bounce, having such a record for Australian team there on the home soil is not going to make things easy. And we'll have to wait and see when Rohit Sharma joins, because when Virat is definitely leaving after the first Test, there's still not enough clarity on when Rohit Sharma is joining. And from Indian team's point of view, if Virat is leaving, they would want Rohit to have the similar kind of impact and join it as soon as possible.
Yeah, December 11th is the big day for the fitness test. December 8th was the day when India lost. Just by the way, since we love to throw our stats in, the other day we said big day, December 6th for Team India. Won so many in the past, lots of big victory moments. Well, December 8th was the last time India lost a T20 international to the West Indies at home. And here it is again, December 8th. So it's 8 a black number. We're just playing around with all that. At the end of the day, it was a good victory for Australia. And certainly you'll find some of their names in our My 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the day who have been sterling performances. Virat Kohli, though, does sneak in with his individual effort at the end to become captain, closely followed by Matthew Wade as vice-captain, but plenty of Australians in there. Adam Zampa, Mitchell Swepson, Andrew Tye, who really set the stage for Australia's defending effort there, along with Glenn Maxwell, with both bat and ball. And at the end, we'll crown our final My 11 Circle champion of the day for the year 2020. Who's going to round off the year with a big win individually? And it's Pradeep Singh from Uttarakhand. Love the headgear there. And he's the one who finishes off as our final champion for 2020. Now, to round things off, I briefly touched on it. A lot of these players are going to be exiting the bubble, heading back to India. All those who are not going to be part of the Test series, as many as 9 players, Zaheer, and they're going to head straight back to India, not knowing how much possible first-class cricket they will get. At the moment, all the discussions are on and all leaning towards the limited overs game being played because of the bubble scenario. So they may be starved of a little bit of first-class cricket. How do you see that going?
Well, the last chatter which I had heard around it was the white ball format will go on. It's not easy in a country like India where you have 38 first class teams. So how do we accommodate that? And that has been the biggest challenge. We've seen that IPL was conducted, but the teams were just 8 we're talking about. So I think that's something which is going to be a challenge for BCCI. They've done a fantastic job with organizing the IPL and forming that bubble. We'll have to see that, what are the options around the first class if they have to continue with that. The time between the next IPL and this domestic season is also going to be condensed. So we'll have to wait and see. But white ball cricket is something, which certainly on the cards. And I hope all the first class teams get to play some sort of cricket in this coming months. To keep things moving. So I think, first class cricket, the day's cricket might be a difficult possibility, but white ball cricket for sure, I think should be organized.
Yeah, it's a combination sort of, Michael, good news and bad news. You'd want some cricket to happen as well. But at the end of it, the real basis for the game is your red ball game. It's the first class game. But as Zaheer said, with that many teams, I mean, we're more a continent than a country, really, India. And it's a tough one to execute.
38 teams. I mean, if you can't get into one of them, you're not very good. They've got to do everything they can. The Test series, I hope, will take place in February and March in India against England. That's looking likely to be the case, hopefully. So leading into that, you really do need to see a bit of red ball cricket. But at the back of everyone's mind is everyone's got to stay, healthy, and everyone's got to stay well. We're still in a pandemic. We're still trying to get rid of this COVID virus. The vaccine's arriving. We've had our first vaccine live on television this morning. I think a lady called Margaret, who was 80-odd, took the vaccine at 6:30 a.m. on the TV. So we're looking at positive signs, and hopefully that'll transcend across the world, and everyone will be able to get a vaccine, and we'll be able to get all formats of the game. But if it's just white ball cricket that can take place because it's easier to organise and easier to create bubbles, well, that's better than nothing. But I'd love to see a bit of red ball action as well. Yeah,
we certainly would. South Africa was a harsh reminder that the pandemic is still very much among us. Quick look, I think, at what other teams have been doing, other countries have been doing, which, of course, their task is a lot easier. We've put together some numbers. Have a look at England, Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa. The critical phase is the number of matches they need to conduct. England obviously have the toughest among them, but it's still 18 versus 38. And for all the others, it's a far more easy task. So this is where things stand right now. Things are going to continue to evolve, Zaheer, but it's a challenge for the BCCI. And a near miracle is what they did with the IPL. I'm sure that if you throw the ball in their court, they'll come up with something.
I think it's just the number of teams. You look at the number of teams participating, and that tells you a story. Maybe you have to identify zones and create different tiers so that everyone can get at least some some number of games to play with the red ball. And then from that point of view only, if they can get some kind of cricket going, I think that's going to be positive. Just looking at the sheer number of teams, you add 15 players to each team minimum, and you can look at the kind of number which you're looking at, and you add the logistic teams around it, and to form the bubble, you need more people just making sure that the protocols are followed. So that number is just going to be staggering, and that's the toughest challenge. And looking at that, it's only wise to have cricket going for sure. If not days, you can definitely look at white ball cricket happening.
Yeah, not bad to look at what England have done. Obviously, when the whole pandemic started, it was England who led the way. They had the advantage of certain bits of infrastructure like the hotels built into a cricket ground. But it was dividing teams among the zones that really helped for the first-class structure, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously internationals were very strategic and sort of like a military operation to get the games on. Everyone was staying at the grounds. The Ageas Bowl has a hotel on site, as does Old Trafford. The first class game actually was a little bit more relaxed. Teams were travelling around the country, not staying at ground, staying near the ground. They were getting tested, temperature tested as they went to the venue every single day. So that was a little bit more lenient. I think expense is a big thing. If you've got the expenditure to really create these bubbles in a military fashion, as did England, as Australia are doing now. You can, but it's just that the money's only so much. You're looking at South Africa. The reason I'm led to believe why there's been problems in South Africa is that they don't have the expenditure to put the kind of biosecure bubble as England had in the UK, and they don't have the money to put more tests and the better tests there for the players and the staff as well. So. The other thing is, I think it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. The players throughout the English summer eventually complained about it being so anal, and the mental health side of things started to creep in. So they wanted to relax it a little bit. So when England toured South Africa, I think the players, rightfully so, went, come on, we need a little bit of leeway. So they've been allowed to go out and play golf pretty much on every single day that they've not been playing cricket, just to give themselves a bit of a freshen up in their mind. And obviously, there's been a case or two that's arrived back in the hotel. It's difficult. I mean, Zach was in the IPL bubble. It's difficult if you keep going from bubble to bubble to bubble, and you can't have an outside life, and you can't get yourself away from cricket, and you're just locked into a confined space over a period of time. I do think that's when trouble could arrive in terms of the mental health side of things. But we need the games to go on. It's a really difficult one for the administrators to anally lock players up to absolutely guarantee the games get on. Then on the other side, you've got to look after people's mental well-being. It's a real difficult one.
Yeah, it's inevitable to have a discussion like this towards the end of 2020, but that's what this year has been about, folks. But I think there are always silver linings to it, Michael. Every time we followed you on social media, the meals that you got never ever suffered. You got top-class food inside that bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had we were fed nicely. Old Trafford there's a lovely hotel, and it basically was just the free reign of whatever you wanted. It was very nice. And then when we went down to Southampton, we managed to get a Deliveroo or Just Eat every other night, which was very, very handy indeed.
Zach, how was the culinary side of things for 2020 for you?
Not bad. I think when we were in the lockdown, I had to fine-tune my cooking skills a little bit, so I worked on that a little bit. Apart from that, it's been pretty easy. Life in a bubble that way is very relaxed and very easy. When it comes to all the other things and especially the food side.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that myself. The things 2020 made us do. But it's not too long to go before 2021 is among us. It's not that it's going to completely change. On the 31st, the fireworks will go off and COVID virus will be gone. That's not quite going to be the situation. What it means is we've learned a lot and we will be looking forward to a whole new year. But before even that new year turns around, there will be a change of format. And Cricbuzz, of course, will be on it with the pulse of the test series. Look out for Cricbuzz chatter. We always enjoy that in English and Hindi. Our very own Harsha Bhogle And of course, in Hindi, we will have the very dapper Parthiv Patel joining our team. So welcome to the team for Cricbuzz Chatter throughout the Australia-India Test Series during the breaks, and lots of analysis during innings breaks, post-match, end of the day. Look out for it. The schedules will be on the website. Lots and lots of fun to look forward to. But as far as limited overs cricket is concerned, that's all we have in 2020. Delighted that we've brought it all to you. And of course, we've also got to give one more prize before we wrap things up. And it's been a tough old year. Tough enough without having Joy throwing these tough questions at you. But he never relents. He never relents. He's a hard man, Mr. Bhattacharya. And he's had one more for this year. This was the question, just to remind all of you. 2019, Abhimanyu Mithun achieved something in domestic cricket, which has been achieved only once in international cricket. Who and what was the feat? Let's go straight to the answer. And the answer is, it was a hat-trick on his birthday. Mithun got it in the Vijay Hazare final. Peter Siddle got one on November 25th, 2010 in the Ashes Test on his 26th birthday. Michael Vaughan, do you remember any of those victims of Peter Siddle's hat-trick?
Yeah, if I'm right, I think he may have got Ian Bell, Matthew Pryor, and then Stuart Broad.
Well done. Well done. I mean, who says you don't like his questions? You just give a little bit of a hint and you can pull those out of the memory bank.
I just knew the answer to the answer, if you knew what I mean. I didn't know the actual answer.
Yeah, it was a tough one. But I remember watching that Siddle birthday hat-trick. But yeah, you never know where Joy pulls out what from and why the birthday was actually going to be talked about. Some relevance, some connection you always need to find. But that's the last one, the last question we have. And our last winner for 2020 is Tanmoy Chakraborty, Tanmoy CV01. Well done for edging out some of our usual suspects. We want to see many more new names as we get into 2021, because of course we'll have plenty of white ball cricket to bring to you on Cricbuzz Live in a brand new year, a brand new season, and of course another IPL to look forward to. It's been quite a year. It's our final one for the year, and just about time to say a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in loyally. We'll keep coming to you. Thank you, Zaheer Khan. Thank you, Michael Vaughan. Delighted to have both of you on board.
Thank you, and see you next year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we won't be officially saying it on the platform. So festive season coming up. Most importantly, have a safe Christmas. You've been together with your families. Stick with your families and ring in 2021 in the best way possible. From all of us here at My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, it's bye-bye.